Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for May 16th, Thursday. It's currently 7:40 a.m. and we are significantly warmer than what we've been the past few days, with temperatures ranging from the upper 40s to lower 50s over the northern interior, upper 50s to lower 60s over the New York City metropolitan area, and lower to mid 60s over the Philadelphia metropolitan area, including southern New Jersey. We're clearly dealing with a much warmer air mass, and we're going to really feel the difference this afternoon as temperatures rebound into the lower to mid 70s right along the immediate coast, upper 70s over the New York City metropolitan area, and lower to mid 80s over the Philadelphia metropolitan area, especially in the Delaware River Valley, let's say around central New Jersey down through southwestern New Jersey. Portions of northeastern New Jersey, like let's say Newark, could actually push into the lower to mid 80s as well. So we're looking at a very pleasant day, but first we have to dodge a few showers as we have another disturbance moving through. This disturbance is weakening, but you can see it's producing a little bit of moderate to heavy rain over south central Pennsylvania, and that's going to shift towards the east. Taking a look at the radar, you can see that disturbance right here pushing to the east and producing some scattered showers capable of some heavy downpours here, but most of this is being suppressed to the south of the New York City metropolitan area, focused over the Philadelphia metropolitan area, and it is weakening and having a hard time reaching the ground as it's moving east because of the weather pattern that is starting to take shape, which I'll show in just a few minutes. Now, with these showers expecting to move through in the morning, capable of a brief heavy downpour, but for the most part they'll remain light in nature and will not linger all that long. Once these showers exit, skies will clear out and we'll experience very comfortable and pleasant summer-like conditions by this afternoon. Now, on the infrared satellite picture, you can see this cold front weakening and starting to fall apart, and we're seeing that the western portion of this cold front is becoming stationary and starting to lose its influence on the entire weather pattern. What we're seeing here, though, with this cold front passage is basically a wind shift. This is basically becoming a large wind shift frontal boundary, which basically means winds are shifting from the southwest to northwest, and that northwesterly wind is going to be really key. I'm going to show you why on the water vapor satellite picture. But with this cold front dropping south and then falling apart, we'll see again these showers move through the Philadelphia metropolitan area this morning, and then all of this clear sky here over portions of central and northern New York and northern Pennsylvania will shift south and build into the region, providing very pleasant weather conditions for this afternoon. Now, here is the water vapor satellite picture, and I want to focus on these winds right here. These are the upper level winds. Notice how they're becoming stronger, but also packing in over the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. That's called convergence. And when you have winds converge, air sinks. Combine that with a northwesterly wind downsloping or moving over and then down along the Appalachian Mountains, that leads to two influences. One, drying of the atmosphere, and two, warming of the atmosphere. So, with this combination setting up, these showers that are going to approach from central Pennsylvania will continue to weaken under this type of influence. And by this afternoon, with the dry, warming air mass over the Philadelphia, New York City metropolitan area, that's going to allow temperatures to warm up to above normal levels and push into the 70s and 80s. Note the humidity this afternoon will be very low, leading to the threat for fire danger, should I say, but also very pleasant weather conditions for the evening. So if you have any plans going to a baseball game, let's say the Yankees game, for example, very pleasant weather conditions can be expected. This upper level disturbance, or cut off upper level low, especially at the mid levels, is what produced all those tornadoes in Texas, unfortunately. This disturbance will continue to lift north and east and weaken and approach the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area over the next couple of days, producing widely scattered to isolated showers, nowhere near the severe nature that we've seen over the plains. And the reason why is because we're starting to get a ridge starting to build and basically lock in over the eastern United States, but we still have to deal with these mid-level disturbances that unfortunately will be capable of producing an isolated shower or thunderstorm over the region from time to time, but most locations will remain dry and relatively warm. So here is the latest model guidance from the Penn State UWall website. Now, again, we're using the European model guidance because it's been the most consistent model. For this evening, that cold front weekends falls apart and basically shifts to the south of the region. We warm up again because of the convergent nature of the upper level winds and also winds coming off the Appalachian Mountains, producing very pleasant weather conditions. For tomorrow, high pressure generally in control. Again, can't rule out an isolated shower, but most locations will remain dry. You can see that upper level ridge starting to really develop and shift towards the east. At this point, the axis is basically located over the Mississippi River Valley from basically the Gulf Coast all the way up into the northern portions of the Mississippi River Valley. Our trough that is over the northern mid-Atlantic right now will shift towards the Canadian Maritimes, so we remain on the western side of this trough, which leads to convergent winds. Temperatures will be a bit cooler. Temperatures basically in the lower to mid 70s along the coast, mid to upper 70s away from the coast, because of the northwesterly wind being weaker, thus less of an influence from downsloping off the Appalachians. For this weekend, for Saturday and Sunday, high pressure will again remain controlled with generally pleasant weather conditions. But you see, right here, you see this little dent here in the pressure field. This is basically a representation of a weak boundary, or possibly a few mid-level disturbances. And we're also seeing that in the temperature field here as well at 850 millibars. What that basically is telling me is that we're still going to be dealing with a few isolated disturbances that will keep the threat for showers in the forecast. Most locations will remain dry, but we're going to have to watch out for that isolated stray shower or thunderstorm through this weekend. Temperatures this weekend will remain in the mid to upper 70s away from the coast, lower to mid 70s along the coast. There is a chance that we could push into the 80s if we get enough of a downsloping influence from the winds, but right now I'm keeping temperatures in the 70s. And for the start of next week, pretty much again tranquil weather conditions. We're going to have to watch out for the same scenario of these disturbances, these pesky disturbances moving through the region, but again our temperatures are going to remain relatively warm, with temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 70s along the coast and upper 70s to lower 80s away from the coast. Humidity will be a bit more on the increase because of a southwesterly flow we could see at the mid levels and lower levels of the atmosphere, and that will lead to a better chance for a shower or a thunderstorm because of the increase in moisture. But again, I don't expect a washout during this period. Later on in the forecast period for the middle of next week, we're going to have to watch the base of this trough to see if this upper level disturbance cuts off and becomes an upper level low along the southeast coast. If that happens, then what happens is all the moisture that's sitting over the Atlantic, especially the tropical Atlantic, is drawn towards the northern mid-Atlantic. That produces a rather, let's just say wet scenario, should I say, for the northern mid-Atlantic for the middle and latter part of next week. Again, have to watch that. Not exactly confident on this scenario just yet. If this upper level low doesn't cut off, then this building ridge, kind of a rinse and repeat of the pattern, starts to take shape as this trough deepens and you end up with this broad ridge. And we jump into the forecast a little bit beyond towards the end of next week. See what I mean? Nice trough here, broad ridge developing. If this doesn't cut off, then this ridge extends out into the Atlantic. If it does cut off, then we're dealing with this upper level low lingering around North Carolina, and that leads to winds shifting off of the Atlantic, producing a rather wet scenario for the region. Something to keep an eye on. Well, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. You can follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter and Facebook. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there.